What issues have been overlooked because of the pandemic?
I mean, maybe not just through the pandemic, but clean water up north for First Nations people. That's still not solved, so that's been overlooked, definitely.
Certainly, one of the biggest things is how seniors are treated in long-term care homes. I find it just terribly shocking. And it seems to go on. And it didn't only happen since COVID, it was happening before.
The hospital capacity, that's really what the issue was and still is, I guess. We certainly don't have enough beds when we have an emergency, so we need more beds, and we need more doctors.
Well, I think climate change, again, the major one during the pandemic. We see a lot of like single-use plastics manufactured with like masks and personal protective equipment and things like that. So definitely when we push it aside, of course, in terms of public health, so it was important. I also think that, well, obviously, like we're headed towards recession, so our economic system has been pushed a bit to the back burner when public health became a nationwide emergency.
I don't really want to answer that question. I guess the homeless, definitely, the homeless and like people in need, elderly people. Maybe that's my answer.
Mental health would be one of them. I guess what they consider to be like non-life urgent like surgeries and stuff like that, because there's been a lot of like quality of life based surgeries that have been just completely delayed, or ones that have a huge impact on people's lives that have been delayed, that people are now waiting at least a year or more to actually have addressed. Other than that, I guess other like preventative type like screenings too, where people who might be getting like diagnosed with like cancers or stuff like that, where that was delayed and now they're kind of like getting to find out a little bit too late and stuff like that, because previously we would have been doing a lot more preventative screenings than we are now. So
I'd have to go with the mental health. I don't think a lot of people realized how much damage it did cause people.
The pandemic, like in many ways, it distracted everyone, and it was sort of a big deal, and it was, but it in many ways it causes not only to overlook but exacerbate and bring issues more that actually brought some issues more to the forefront in some ways, and that's for better and for worse.
That's a complicated question. There are a lot of things. I'm formerly from the Canadian Armed Forces, so I think the Canadian Armed Forces have been somewhat overlooked in all of this. It has impacted a number of other areas like redevelopment of infrastructure and things of that. So spending on things that have been ignored in the last couple of years would be good.
I would say currently like the rising cost of just everyday life and like groceries, rent, all of that.
The wait on doctors, the low nurse staffing has been overlooked or overshadowed. We've been worried about what ward's been locked down and whatnot, but I still don't have a doctor or make appointments. And I don't go to emergencies because I don't want to get sick, so.
Too sure about that because it hit us all so hard and differently, but I think we had to prioritize so that we had to get through that. But there could be the aftermath of the things from there. But basically, it was support of the people when that was needed, and then following that is getting back to the good business of bipartisan governing.
I'm not really sure. I think that everything's been eclipsed by the pandemic response and the ongoing discussion around, what the next pandemic will be or what have you. The biggest issue from the pandemic I'm not seeing discussed very much is the inflation, which, it's kind of perplexing to me to see the Bank of Canada say, we don't know what's causing this inflation, right? I think that it's pretty obviously fiscal policy. It's coming from a lot of printed currency.